This is the new second generation Škoda Kodiaq, which in the 8 years it's been for sale hasn't seen all that much change, but this new edition comes jam-packed with additional features, improved internal space and updated technology. And being a large 3-row SUV means it does have some heavy hitting rivals, and my family and I have been testing out the base grade this week to see whether or not those rivals have anything to worry about. Excluding the limited edition launch variant, there are 2 grade levels for the new Kodiaq, and we're family testing the base select grade for this review. Because of its trim price tag, this manages to wriggle its way into being the most affordable option compared to its nearest rivals, the Hyundai Santa Fe and the Kia Sorento. Despite the base grade position, the Select is really well equipped with leather upholstery, heated front seats, an electric driver's seat with memory function, as well as updated technology that includes 3-zone climate control, a 13-inch media display, and wireless phone mirroring. But the full specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info, but basically there's a lot of bang for your buck here. The Kodiaq appears long rather than tall, and that makes this more athletic looking than its hulking and boxy rivals. The well-shaped rear has some cool looking C-shaped LED lights, and some other highlights include the new 19-inch alloys and restyled grille. This is an understated but handsome family SUV. The cabin has a European flavour with its angular dashboard and general aesthetics. The leather upholstery, the updated technology like the 13-inch media display, 10-inch digital instrument cluster, and these cool multi-function dials elevates this base model from ever feeling basic. It's a really nice interior that definitely hits more notes than you'd expect it to for the price point. The front row offers plenty of space, and the access is quite good with the wide apertures and the 187mm ground clearance. The seats themselves are quite comfortable. They've got big side bolsters that keep you into place, expandable under thigh supports, and the driver's side is electric. They're also both heated, which is really good to see on a base model. Škoda's usually quite clever with its storage options, and the new Kodiaq is no different. There are so many different random cubbies in here to keep your stuff neat and tidy, and I really like the removable rubbish bins in the front doors. The charging options are really good with 2 USB-C ports and 2 wireless charging pads with a ventilation function. There's also a 3rd USB-C port up near the rear view mirror, which is great if you want to install your own dash cam. Over this week, the technology has been a little bit glitchy. The media display, some of the touchscreen functionality is a bit laggy, and it's not always intuitive to use, at least not at first. It can be difficult to flip between the functions of these dials while on the go, and the climate sync button only worked about half the time. The rear climate control, I also couldn't get to work no matter what sort of troubleshooting I did. It sort of just stayed locked and I couldn't access the actual temperature gauge. There are some really good features though, like the built-in sat-nav and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The CarPlay was easy to connect to and maintained a steady connection this week. My 8-year-old didn't have any trouble getting in and out of this row. And these seats, while on the firmer side, are still fairly comfortable for a longer journey. The amenities in this row are really good with device pockets on the back of each seat, 2 USB-C ports, a 12-volt socket, climate control, directional air vents, as well as device holders and retractable sun blinds. And those are really good features to have in a family SUV. This seat is wide enough to make use of the 3 top tether anchor points back here, and if you don't have anyone sitting in this middle seat, there is a removable storage caddy, which is really good for kids. This has a really cool family-friendly feature in the way of these pop-out door protectors. Perfect for when you have a kid like mine that likes to just throw open their door. So it will protect your door, just maybe not next door neighbors. It's best to consider the 3rd row as a sometimes seat because there's just not a lot of room back there, and there's no top tether anchor points, which might disappoint some larger families. The boot space has a decent amount of capacity, and when all 3 rows are in use, you get 340 litres. But if you pop that 3rd row down, that pops up to 910 litres, and that's from base to the roof. Now that is ample enough space for all your grocery hauls and longer road trips. Underneath, there is an underfloor storage compartment which houses the retractable cargo cover and space saver spare tyre, and you do get a powered tailgate in this model, which I always like. The Select is all-wheel drive and has a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine, which produces up to 140 kilowatts of power and 320 newton meters of torque. Power delivery can feel a little bit underwhelming at times due to the 7-speed automatic transmission. Gear changing is pretty quick, but it feels quite choppy, and you can engage in a higher gear than you would expect to be when you're accelerating hard, which just reduces the power. This has an official combined fuel cycle usage figure of 9.2 litres per 100 kilometres and a 58-litre fuel tank, which gives it a theoretical driving range of up to 630 kilometres. It's probably not the best range for a family SUV, but it's been sufficient for my needs. My real-world usage is on your screen now. Like I mentioned earlier, the power delivery can feel a little bit anemic at times. It doesn't ever feel gutless though. It's an odd one to describe. You still feel like you've got enough power to overtake and handle yourself on the open road. It just doesn't quite hit the beats when you expect it to. It's kind of like having a dance partner that's just slightly out of step, not all the time, but just enough to notice. The visibility in this has been fine. There's no real blind spots from my driving position, and I've really liked that. It's not as tall as some other cars, but it's enough clearance to feel like I've got a really good vision out the front. The cabin can get a little bit loud even when you're at lower speeds with wind and road noise. It's not enough to really intrude on chatting with middle rowers, but third rowers are going to ask you to repeat yourself. The suspension is quite soft in this, and that means that you do iron out a lot of the bumps, which is quite nice for the average driver. You still get enough road feedback as a driver to feel like you know what the car's doing on the road though, which is good. It's also quite stable in corners. There's not much roll at all, which I like, and passengers will like too. The steering isn't as firm as what I would like it to be. It's still responsive enough that you can do the city lane changes and maneuver easy enough around a car park, but it's a little bit loose. This hasn't been too difficult to park, but the reversing camera's image quality is not the best. It is surprising with big SUVs that they just don't make 360-degree view cameras standard. They should be, in my opinion. You get lots of parking sensors in this, but I did revert to a lot of old school techniques, aka looking in my mirrors and using my eyes for this one. The Kodiaq is offered with a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is better than the usual 5 years you see on some of its rivals. You can also pre-purchase servicing packs for up to 7 years, and services average $393, which is quite competitive. Servicing intervals are spaced at every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The Kodiaq is covered by a maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating from testing done in 2024 and has 9 airbags, but the curtain airbags don't cover the third row, which is disappointing for a family SUV. The new Kodiaq comes jam-packed with additional safety features, including side exit assist, emergency lane keeping aid, and rear cross traffic alert. None of the systems seem to really intrude on daily driving, except the lane keeping aid, because it does feel a little bit sporadic for when it actually turns on, and it does adjust the wheel quite firmly, which takes a bit to get used to. But the full safety specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. The new Škoda Kodiaq Select 140 TSI is a quiet achiever. It's not as flashy looking as some of its rivals, and its engine's not going to blow your socks off, but it's a perfectly adequate 7-seat SUV that offers comfort, clever and family-friendly features, as well as a longer equipment list than you'd expect to see for a base grade, and that's why it gets the score that's on your screen now. But if you're after more details, check out the full review at carsguide.com.au. I'll see you next week.